Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whisky. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're going back over to the States and checking out some bourbon, not bourbon. Now this is the Redwood Empire, what I've got today is the Lost Monarch. Now I picked this up recently because a lot of people in my Discord channel, shout out to my Discord channel, been raving about this, and in the comments below when I picked this up, especially my US contingent, are raving about this, and this is quite readily available over here in the UK right now, so that's good, because my complaint about bourbon and US whiskies generally speaking is that although we can get some reasonably good stuff, to get the really good stuff it's always inflated prices or just not available to us, which is a shame. But I suppose you could go looking and hunting, but I'm not a whiskey hunter. I like things to just kind of like find its way to me somehow. But yeah, anyway, so today we've got this Lost Monarch, and this is one of three from the Redwood Empire distillery over in California. They've got a bourbon, which is called the Pipe Dream. They've got a rye, which is called the Emerald Giant, and then they've got this, which is the Lost Monarch, a blend of those two. Because it's a US whiskey, we get access to things like mash bill, which is cool. Obviously Scottish malted barley whiskey is all malted barley, that sort of stuff. Whereas over in the States they've got loads of different mash bills they can use. Sort of going to go into that a little bit because I find it quite interesting because traditionally I'm not a big fan of rye, I'm a big fan of bourbon, and as luck would have it today we are, as you might have seen by the title below, we are going to compare this to the Emerald Giant because my subscription to Whiskey Pioneer came in this week and just happened to have this. So I've been sitting on this for probably 6 weeks or so, trying to think about when to do the review. So when this popped up I thought may as well do that, as luck would have it. So there we are. These are all 45%, and in the UK they run about 50 quid. If you are in the States, don't let me know how much it costs you over there because it's probably going to be a little bit cheaper, I imagine. Well, maybe it isn't. If it's the same, let me know, or if it's more, let me know. Okay, so their bourbon is a 4 to 12-year-old bourbon, and it's 75% corn, 21% raw rye, and 4% malted barley, which is interesting. I've never seen a mash bill with raw rye on it before. The Emerald Giant is 95% rye and 5% malted barley, and that runs in at 3 to 5 years old. So that's clearly a straight rye. The other one is a straight bourbon, and then this is a 60-40 split of those two, 60% being the rye and 40% being the bourbon. Now, because I'm a bit of a spreadsheet geek, I worked out the percentages of that. So technically, not technically, this is a mixture of straight whiskies, but the mash bill that went into this is now something like 57% rye, 30% corn, 8.4% raw rye, and 4.6% malted barley. Definitely not referring to my notes just below the camera there. But yeah, so that's all kind of cool. Redwood Empire, they're named after redwood trees, so each one of these is named after a famous tree in the area. So Lost Monarch is the world's largest coastal redwood by volume. Some very important key bits there. And the rye is the fastest growing redwood in the world. It gets massive every year. Obviously these are huge trees. The Pipe Dream I think is something like the 14th tallest tree. So yeah, it's kind of cool. We're obviously not talking about the whiskey here. We're just talking about some label on a bottle. But I don't mind stuff like that. It just brings something interesting to it, and it kind of brings a bit of terroir to the whiskey, let's say. So why not? I say. Okay, let's get into the first one then. I'm going to be doing a comparison of the two, but we're going to get into the actual bottle first, and hopefully I've got these the right way round so that we know which way where they are. But yeah, we've got here the Lost Monarch. So let's get onto the nose and see what we've got. Okay, so for me, some sort of classic bourbon-y notes coming through here. So we've got vanilla, oak, there's some clove, some rye bread, and then some fudge. So it's quite a lot going on. But it's a really nice nose. Let's try on the palate. Okay, so I'm getting quite a strong popcorny note up front with lots of vanilla, a bit of leather on the back end, some rye spice coming through, and some cinnamon coming through on the back end as well. The finish is medium long, but it's quite hot at the start, which is very indicative of the high rye content. and then just goes on quite nicely. It's actually a really nice whiskey. They're stating this as the whiskey for people that can't decide whether they like rye or bourbon. Now for me, I absolutely love bourbon, so I'm definitely on that edge of things, and I shy away from rye as much as I can. I'm still trying to explore it. But I don't think I'd ever particularly buy a bottle of rye unless I knew what it tasted like beforehand. This one it feels like that bridging whiskey into that rye world, but we'll find that out now, because what I have as well is the rye. So let's have a quick cleanse and see what the rye is like. Cheers. Now that's interesting, because on the nose I'm getting I say it's interesting, like it's not going to be what it's like, but this is literally what it's like. It's basically the nose of this, but with the more rye elements to it. Shock. Literally a shock. Clove, rye bread. I'm getting a little bit of citrusy orange on it as well. Let's try on the palate. Okay. Yeah, again, I mean, this really amplifies the flavour from the nose. Bags and bags of clove, bags of rye bread. A little bit more of those orangey notes going on there. The finish is longer than the blend, but it's hotter as well. And I say that note, that's my kind of tasting note for that spicy rye-ness that comes through on these whiskies. And that's actually what I tend to not like about rye whiskey, because it's just a little bit too much in my face for my liking. However, although I wouldn't say that that's particularly a flavour profile I seek out, I'm actually enjoying that rye. It's not too bad at all. That said, going straight back to this blend, that is so much more palatable to me. Obviously I don't have the bourbon here to try. Would love to try that, because I think that's probably going to be more in my wheelhouse in terms of what I reach for on a personal level when I'm just drinking and I want to try something. For the camera speaking, I can tell these are both excellent whiskies. The Lost Monarch is my clear favourite out of these two. The rye, though, I have to say, a little bit of a journey on my rye exploration is that I'm starting to not mind rye so much. And that's a very key distinction I'm making there, because I wouldn't say I'm enjoying rye or even liking rye, but I'm certainly not disliking it anymore. So that's what happened to me when I finally broke through to peat. I just did not like peat, and then I started not minding peat, and now I absolutely love it. So there is still hope for me yet. But for today, where I am right now, I'm gonna keep going towards this blend without a doubt. And like I said, hopefully I'll get to try the bourbon at some point. And I imagine, without that rye influence at all, I'm probably going to enjoy that quite a lot, because I love a high corn bourbon. There you go. I'm going to enjoy these off camera anyway. Luckily, I've got this the right way round in terms of bottle size versus sample size. But really enjoyable. I'm enjoying this brand. Hopefully they're going to continue getting stuff over here, and hopefully you guys can get hold of this wherever you are, because it seems to be pretty available, which is cool. I don't often get to say that on this channel, especially recently. I've been covering a lot of things that are not widely available. So yeah, let me know if you've tried this in the comments below, and we'll have a little chat about this whiskey. In any case, I'll see you again on more videos coming soon. Cheers.